So. Chat. Polling. Polling. And a question. Oh. Hey, Jacob. You're muted.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine, yeah, thank you. Did you find the link?
Yeah, I found it just fine. Thank you.
Okay, because in the very last moment, I changed the Zoom ID. So, okay, good to see you.
Good to see you too. You have the old headphones.
Yeah, it was the closest nearby, so.
I know you lost the other ones in between the cracks of the couch.
Yeah, I have something interesting to show. Probably, where is it? Rewards. Oh, it's in the pub. Yeah. So, yeah.
Jim's looking for the meeting. Let me send him the link.
Okay. Yes. Get them all in, please.
Yeah. All right. As you were saying.
Okay. So people enter as attendee.
Wait, Ian says that we can't see him. Is this channel locked for some reason?
No, it's they come in as attendee.
There it is. Okay.
And I have to promote them to panelist. So Jim Scar, okay, wonderful. This is a different kind of system. So this is a webinar.
Did you change the room that you meet in?
Yeah.
I was all alone. Okay. I guess I have to keep up.
So this is a webinar and that streams immediately live on YouTube. And it does also the recording and so. So that's a lot easier.
How are you doing this?
You have an extension on Zoom. It's a paid extension, and then you can create webinars. And Gary wants, so people come in as attendees, or you can invite them as panelists. So like that, you can kick people out or kick people in.
Can you mute them?
I can also mute them, yeah.
I think we need that.
Okay. So, and Kit and me, we are working on a kind of document to explain this. And then everybody who wants can use my Zoom ID to start any conference they want. And the only problem is that you have to log on to YouTube under your own name. And that means that all the videos will be scattered around. So
HJ?
Yeah.
This is Gary. I notice we're getting a lot of feedback that we weren't getting the other day.
Oh.
And I think it's because we're picking up your delayed live feed on YouTube. And this wasn't happening when we did it the other day.
I'm not getting anything. I'm not in YouTube.
Okay, thank you, Jim. That solves my problem. Sorry for the interruption.
Okay, so what we plan to do is we want to create a general email for the RChain members. And like that, everybody can log on to that email account, and then all the YouTube movies will be under that account. So what do you think of that?
I'm not sure I follow.
No? Well, this is a special feature of Zoom, and you can create a webinar. And the webinar is, you can do that with like 100 people or so, and you can create a panel. That's all you now. There's 8 panelists, and people come in like attendees. So then they don't appear on the screen here. And another feature is that it's immediately streamed to YouTube live. And therefore, we need one general email address, because then the videos will come in one place.
I see. So you're saying an email address so that we could all host the member meeting.
Yeah. So the password of that email address will be.
Don't say it over the air, HJ.
It will be distributed in Discord, and if you know a friend, you can pass it to your friend. So
HJ,
that's also the same for the Zoom feature. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Ian.
so how many members are you looking to put in this group? I mean, it makes more sense to me that we divide up into committees, because the number of members as a whole is really growing to be quite high.
Yeah. Well, when this explodes, then we split up.
I agree. You can always change the password. In digital life, the host code is shared to everyone in the collective, and it's very handy because for the open chat room, anybody can record, because all they do is they type /dig and it gives them the host code as one of the key links and information.
Yeah, can I also point out that on the co-op's Discord server, every room has the potential to run audio, so we can have chats in any room, and video should be coming within days or weeks. So for the co-op, that is the platform if you want to connect with the co-op leadership or the developers. I mean, I'm all for having multiple channels and everything, but I'm just saying that in Discord, we already have much of this capability.
That means that we don't need Zoom anymore?
No, I wouldn't say that. Discord is still pretty new, and we know that Zoom works very well. It's reliable audio, everything is good.
Yeah, and the live streaming feature, I guess somebody's paying for it, and for the webinar, that will be handy, for more public exposure.
We get right. Is a bit. I will. This is cool. Yeah. So maybe we have a short interruption, but let's see. Yeah, okay. Everybody's still on, so that was a smooth transition. Okay, well, I would like to skip this subject and go on to the.
So that was a smooth transition.
Oh my God. What's this? Echo. Yeah. So what I was saying, I want to skip this subject and then go to the rewards of September. And it's very interesting because the budgets are nicely set, but almost nobody claims a reward. So it started as a decentralized solution, but finally I filled it out in a very centralized way. So
HJ, we should be able to set up a pretty good claim system over on the social ledger site on Mattermost.
Yeah, I understand it, but it's too late for September.
Yeah, and we do want to connect the social ledger with Discord as well.
Yeah.
People who want to help with that.
That's all wonderful, but I have a problem right now for September. So when it works in October, then it's fine with me. I mean, so it's not worked out yet, but there will be distributed about 27,000 ROC. And well, it goes to all these people. I can scroll a bit. And you see Mr. Baziri has been very active on several issues. And Jim Scarver is also amazing. Kenny Rowe is also doing a lot of work, but it doesn't appear in the GitHub. Kit Blake is wonderful. And I'm doing also some stuff. And let's see, what do we have got? This is a new one, this is Ojimadu. And she made a nice article. And well, Patrick is our real motor engine. He's like he's doing a lot of things. So that gives a bit of insight in the activity of the members. And I also would like to say that Gary and Jim, they earned something for August, but they still don't have the things right to get paid. So I will send you an email and then with some.
I got the email, HJ. I'm going to do that W-9, but I was told I had till the end of the year to do that. And I want to set up a procedure on Mattermost through the social ledger system, and I'll get that to you.
Okay, that's fine, but I cannot pay you without these forms. So it's up to you.
Is there a deadline on that? I was going to get it to you before the end of the year.
There's no deadline, I mean.
Okay, thank you.
You only don't get paid when there's no form filled out. So
let me show you quickly the rewards on the social ledger side. The reward system that is being proposed anyway. I'm the only one on the compensation activity right now. So this is what I came up with. It's based on the quanta of participation.
Jim, I had a question about that. You said you're the only one on the conversation. Do you have an action on discussing the quanta of the, you know what I mean?
I added a compensation activity in the main channel.
Main channel of what?
Of the Lab Dig Life team.
I didn't see it. I'll look. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
I hope it's not deleted. But yeah, so in any case, we want to get, you know, a number of people on that team before we decide on a final mechanism. And everybody is king, so everybody gets to set what they want to set, you know, as long as there's no objection. So I'm seeing if there's objections to using the quantum of participation. Every entry that mentions them in the social ledger gets one divvy or $1 worth of rock. And we can see that participation for September has been pretty low, except for a few people. This is sponsored funds at this point. I haven't entered an issue covering this. I guess that should be done. The other way I can do this is I can simply expense the social ledger awards in rock.
Okay, interesting. Hi, kid. Yeah. So I think what I've put on the agenda is also the voting on the 24th of October, because some people will not be able to come in Seattle. And I think a few people have been working on it, and who wants to tell something about it? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we had a brief chat with Greg yesterday. He still wants to see if he can do something on-chain crypto style for voting. I'm not sure we're going to have enough time to do that. So I'm going down a path for, it's basically just a SurveyMonkey form that will have the agenda and the voting items on it. And what the idea currently is we have email and contact information for all of the members, all of the paid members, that is, I think, right? Or if there's some ambiguity about whether you came in early or whatnot, we can sort that out before the meeting. But we'll have unique addresses for each member, so we don't have double voting, obviously. And then that form will also allow people at the meeting to vote digitally. We can probably do paper as well, but it'll just be a lot easier to count if everything is in one format. That'll allow everyone to vote ahead of time, but we will have to close the vote right after, basically as soon as the meeting concludes, which will be, I think, about 9 o'clock Pacific time on the 24th will be the last moment you can vote, but we'll open voting earlier than that once the agenda is finalized.
Okay, and we'll be able to go in and change the vote until the closing, I presume?
I don't know about that. My guess, I won't comment on that just now.
What is the agenda? What is the window for agenda items? How are items entered, and when is the last opportunity for proposing agenda items?
Yeah, so we're going to have a week before will be the last period from which you can submit new items. So let me just pop up the calendar here and get that date. So that is going to be the 17th of October. We're going to have a public version of that available for people this week, probably today, and then we'll make that more widely available as the days go on. But I do want to say, with regards to items on the agenda, meaning things to vote on, they need to be very specific and or binary, a yes/no vote, or if it's not a yes/no vote, it needs to have like choose A, B, or C, something like that. Like, for example, if there was a proposal to burn a certain amount of rock, you need to specify the amount. It can't be just, should we do this? It has to be an actionable item. And you can submit these items either privately if you want to a board member, or on issue 106 voting on GitHub.
And during the meeting itself, there's no opportunity to create additional items for voting. There's no voting during the meeting, right?
No new items for the agenda will be set prior to the meeting.
Okay.
Also, I wanted to mention we'll have committees. These are member committees. We have, I think, 3 committees: an executive committee, a compensation committee, and an executive committee. I think those are the 3. They'll be chaired by board members, but they will be staffed by members. So we need people who are interested to let us know if you'd be interested in joining a committee. And committees are self-governed, so they however they structure themselves and however they conduct their own business is up to them. Though they do have somewhat of a mandate, meaning the compensation committee needs to come up with a compensation plan, that sort of thing. And then I think executive committees one of them is a bit of a catch-all. So, but we are looking for members who are wanting to join committees as well.
So for some of you guys on this call who are great lovers of Mattermost, if you have a committee, you can decide how to govern that committee. You can decide what platforms you want to use, what tools you'd like to use. So there's your opportunity.
Yes, I started some work on that this morning, and I created a document called the Steering Committee for the Use of Social Ledger on RChain, and it's issue number 113. And I created a link for that out of the Social Ledger channel on the RChain domain. And we had started the discussion in the general channel, and I put a link to the Social Ledger channel so you won't have to find it if you want to join it. I encourage everyone to join it. I think this Social Ledger thing is going to be big in some form or another. And I don't know that it has to be what we're doing right now, but you've got to see it. If anybody knows of something similar to this, let me know, because I haven't seen anything like it yet.
Yeah, and this will be tailored for us because we're building it along with Divi and Digital Life Collective. So, we are the king. We can say what direction it goes and how it's developed. It's exciting work, very time consuming.
And along those same lines, one interesting thing that came out of my efforts this morning was I think I finally understand how contracts work on the Social Ledger, and this is better than I thought until this morning.
Well, right now they don't do much, but they can link to an actual work process or Ethereum contract for that matter. At this point, it's just something that you can sign. And
well, just think about what happened to me this morning. I was kind of grousing to myself about having to work on that document on GitHub, and then it occurred to me that this would be a way to just demonstrate our contract procedure. So all I did was create the contract template, which took about 15 seconds. Then I signed the contract, and boom, that was done. Now there's a record of me having worked 1 hour on that document. I don't know if it's of any value to anybody, but if this committee ends up taking hold and Social Ledger goes forward, then I'll probably get my hourly pay for that clip for signing that contract. I see it as a system ready to go. Am I wrong? Just tell me.
No, that's great. That's great. But
it's not a product; it's a prototype. But it's
yeah,
it lets people create and join activities, and then shows the whole graph of what everyone's doing if people participate. And the idea is whenever you go into a channel on Mattermost for now, if you can commit to activities or add activities.
Yeah, that's clear. So I would like to go to another subject. Mattermost is very nice, but we have also other things
I'm sorry,
to discuss.
Jake,
Yeah.
may I just go back for a second to the member meeting? I had a question about the timeline of the meeting. I'm just trying to figure out exactly when I can come into town and leave. Kenny, do we have any more clarity into, sort of like whether the meeting will extend into the evening?
Yeah, meeting starts at 6 p.m. and concludes at 9 p.m. That's how long we have the meeting space for.
All right.
Is there maybe going to be a place to get drinks afterwards with the community, or a place to get dinner the night before? Anything like that in the works, or that someone should maybe plan, such as myself or a community member?
That would be great. Excellent, Jacob. Great idea.
Okay, I see Patrick yawning a lot. And before he falls asleep, I would like to give him the floor.
Yeah, sorry, it's been a long week. Not too much on my side. Right now, I'm getting finalized a newsletter for the members' email list, which we have quite a lot of members added now. So specifically, that is what I'm working on right now. And then what I've been doing is going back through all of the tasks that I created in the initial process and in some of the drafting of the marketing plan. And I'm just going back through this month and making sure that they keep moving forward and checking up on everybody and seeing how things are doing and just driving it. Essentially, that's basically what I'm working on. A new issue I just put out it should have already been known, but like community managers and specifically Reddit and some of these chat channels and these retention and understanding channels, it would be nice to have dedicated roles so that we can stay on top of these communities that are already existing in crypto and make sure that RChain is known clearly in these channels.
I think there should be a link to these probably in the marketing or
yeah, so it's all in GitHub, every issue as far as like proposed drafts. I think I linked into the GitHub issue for the local meetups and the budget that I'm trying to get solidified with Lawrence, and then hopefully Kenny, if you've also looked at that too. But then aside from that, there's not too much that isn't open and transparent right now. The full marketing plan spreadsheet I don't think is on GitHub right now, but that's just because it's changing so much. But that each facet of it, once there's clarity on that, I create the issue in GitHub and share it. But it's all there yeah.
Awesome. So we just need people to step up to the plate to interact with the different channels and systems and
right, yeah. And I hope to start, or I hope there becomes, and it seems like there already is with these proposals of committees and roles and things like that, to where things will solidify to a point where it's more clear than simply finding an issue, doing the issue, finding an issue, doing the issue. I know some people enjoy that style. I kind of prefer like a role with deliverables. This is what I have to do, X, Y, and Z, and then I accomplish that. So I'm sure there's the blending of each of those styles, but that's kind of where I'm pushing towards too. So an example would be this community manager type of role. then there's also going to be that I hope to get some of those types of roles for. I'm really big on, at least for when it comes to digital marketing, content marketing. So, and you guys have heard me this whole spiel a million times, but the curation and the creation and the editing of content are going to be other roles I'd like to have, like dedicated people. And I know Kit, you've always helped me on that. Plan Eater Leah has done a really good job at that too. So some types of roles for that, so that we can, get really, really good content coming out. I think that's crucial moving forward.
Awesome. If I can, I'll go next.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I was excited to finally participate in the sale. I also made a presentation that I'm happy to share my screen and just like preview with you guys. So I'll try and do that now, if I could get it to work. Is that working?
Yes.
Fine.
So I'll just run through it really quickly. I don't want to take a lot of time, and it's pretty short. It's supposed to be just an overview for people just tipping their toes into blockchain and RChain in particular. So just some historical background on Bitcoin and Ethereum, the idea that many coins and tokens have emerged, the potential impact on business and society, problems with today's blockchains, notably scalability and correctness. And by the way, there's been healthy input from Nash in particular on some of this, which I really appreciated. The RChain solution, and obviously the video is a great content piece that I'm trying to feature. And then just real simple for people that current blockchains are serialized, and we're leveraging concurrency, distributed computing, and interoperability with obviously the R suite of technology, including RoCalc and RoLang and namespaces. And then just a more specific, overview with words about the platform and the strategy and timeline. And then obviously I love featuring these guys because they're so experienced, unlike Satoshi, who we just don't know who he is. He's probably maybe somewhat experienced, and I love Vitalik, but he doesn't have the experience that these guys have. And I mean, some people push back that we shouldn't make these claims, but we already have made these claims, and 1,000 times faster is kind of a modest way of putting the second bullet point, but a more simple way. Obviously, the governance model is also very unique, and that's it. So I should probably share that in some more open public way. So I'm happy to do that at some point. And what else I'll say in terms of updates is, had really good conversations with my friend who lives in India now, Vivek, and we had a call with Nash about hopefully onboarding some top dev talent out of India. Obviously, it's not going to happen overnight, but Vivek is pretty interested, and hopefully he introduces himself on the next call. I think he's going to try and make it, even though it's at an odd time for him over there. I'm also excited about the member meeting, and like I chatted into the chat, I want to work on some votes, some proposals. I'll try and distribute them kind of widely to get input, so people aren't just reading it for the first time when it comes time to vote. And hopefully we could have thoughtful engagement on those issues. I think that's about it. I might have to run before the end of this meeting, but I wanted to kind of get that in there before 2 o'clock.
That's awesome.
I would also say that if an issue or a voting proposal is something that does need conversation, you don't have to contain it with within that one issue 106 voting. You can create a new one and then attach it to the project there's a project in GitHub right now for the meeting itself. So you can just take that card and swipe it into the that project, and then you can keep track of issues that way. In fact, that's probably a good way to do it, just to create a new issue for a particular item you want to vote on, so then people can comment and debate ahead of time. Yeah, and just a heads up, I'm not going to be online Thursday, Friday of this and next week, so I'm going to be going quiet for Thursday, Friday, Saturday for 2 weeks in a row.
Okay, that's a great effort. Kit, do you want to, or Kenny, please go ahead.
I don't have too many other updates other than we're still working through some multi-sig stuff with how to manage the rocks that we have. Other updates include, I wrote a script last night to kind of crawl all of the Ethereum addresses to kind of do an accounting. So for the private sale that happened, so we had three means of which people could participate with wire transfers, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Most of the funds came in through Ethereum, and it's pretty close to being done. We're almost completely finished with the accounting, and it looks like we're going to be somewhere between 9.5 million, 9.8 million, I think, total raised, which is pretty great. I think that's a fantastic start, and then that should hold us through for quite a long time and get a lot of progress made. So, but we'll have final reporting coming out pretty soon here. But that will be wrapping up within the next day or two, probably. And then Ian has been working a lot on how to work on onboarding new members. So this is just the standard process for signing up. So we're looking at other payment processors to handle a bit more scale than BitPay, which we've run into problems with. So we're looking into Stripe at the moment, and like Braintree, I think, was another one. So we can take some fiat stuff. No, not even. We're not doing it. Probably just Stripe then.
Braintree stopped their Bitcoin beta. So
okay, so not Braintree at all. So then, yeah, just Stripe was more mature anyway, so I think that was the one we were going to look at. And then the only other updates that I'd mentioned, I'm continuing to work on the members meeting. I'm primarily focused on the voting part to make sure all the members can securely vote, and we can tally those votes quickly, and then the venue itself. But I'm glad Jacob and others had and we're interested in putting together other possible meetings and events. So that would be great.
Okay, I have also a question to you, Kenny. For the payments of September, what will the rate be?
Good question. This is just my opinion, but I think if prior agreements have a specific rate specified, then that rate should carry through the length of the agreement. That's what an agreement is. If it was a floating point, meaning whatever the market price would be, that would be what the token, that would be 20 cents a rock, which is what we were doing for the private event. Going forward, it would probably stay at that rate if it's variable until there is some legitimate market, which I would say, right now rock is tradable on, I think, 2 decentralized exchanges, but I wouldn't consider the volume on those things really that legitimate. But I think it will be somewhat clear to the community what would we consider an active and legitimate market. I know that's not really specific, but hopefully if there are, we can also work on this on a case-by-case basis as well.
Okay. Who else?
Thank you.
Just a little curious. How do you guys feel about members who are receiving bounties, but at the same time they may have a separate statement of work with the co-op? So is that
opinion on that.
Double dipping, or what do you guys think?
So I won't be taking any bounties. I did see it on the list there, But I actually, you know what I'll do? I can commit now to burning any bounties that I collect. No.
Well, there's another idea. So I mean, my situation, I have a statement of work which has been somewhat approved, but it's pending with the co-op, and HJ has been putting me down for some bounties, which is great. I'm thinking maybe like for me, if the contract goes through or the statement of work with the co-op, then I redistribute that bounty or return it back to HJ to redistribute.
No, it's really simple. So people who have a monthly reward, then on the invoice you can mention the issues you've worked upon, and it will be subtracted from that monthly amount. So you won't get anything for the bounties, but it fills up the invoice a bit more, I would say. So let's say you work 160 hours per month, and you spend like 20 hours on issues, and that will just be subtracted, or it will be specified in the amount of rock, and then, yeah, it stays equal. Your monthly salary will not change by working on bounties.
Yeah, that makes sense, HJ. I should say I'm a particularly rare case because I'm one of the only 2 employees. So my situation is a little bit different. Yeah.
But I would say it stays the same for you also. Like you won't get more than, yeah. Okay. Is it a good idea, Ian?
I think so. We can talk more about offline as well. I mean, particular situations.
Okay. Kit wanted to say also something, I think.
Well, actually, I wanted to ask a question first. I see that we're streaming live today. And did you explain about getting the setup working and how it did not work at the meetup? So
yeah, I explained that we have some new features of Zoom, and that I only said that we will create a document how that works.
Okay.
And I could also point out that there's maybe you see question and answers in the bottom bar of the Zoom. And there's also polling.
Maybe it's under more, no?
So you can, for example...
oh yeah, Q&A, sorry, yes.
Yeah, and there's also polling, so anybody who feels like can fill out the poll. For example, do you go to the member meeting in Seattle? Things like that. So it's just for testing out these kind of things.
Is there anyone here that's not... Everybody's on the panel, right? There's no attendees?
No, yeah, I've promoted everybody to panelist. There's no attendees at the moment.
And then but attendees can pose questions, right? We can only see the questions?
I think so, yeah. Maybe I type...
Well, actually, attendees have the option of posting to everybody or just to the panelists.
Yeah. So what if I can, for example, Kit, I can degrade you again, I think. No. Well, we have to find it out offline how that works. But
yeah,
this time it will be clear, I think.
Well, what I wanted to say is we meaning me and HJ, we participated in a meetup last week on Thursday, and we did some presentations that involved RChain, and we were also trying to get it streaming, and it didn't really work. I mean, it didn't totally fuck up, but it's not something that we can we can like send out and say, see this talk, because sometimes there was no video, there was just audio. And so we want to get this process worked out and write a how-to so that we can do it consistently every time. This could also be used for the members meeting, because there will need to be some sort of streaming thing there. And yeah, it's too bad we lost Jacob. Maybe I'll make an issue about it. But if we have an RChain presentation that is somewhat generic and it can be used, then people can go to other meetups and use that presentation. And in the Netherlands, there's a lot of meetups going on. And I noticed that, I've started watching the Java meetups, because I think the Java meetups will be a great recruiting opportunity. If you show up there and do a talk about RChain and Scala and everything, well, blockchain is cool. So it could be that after that presentation, we get some more people on board or something.
Kit, I would like to volunteer to do a demonstration of the social ledger during one of those meetups. And we could do that as a trial if you want to, but I think the meetups would be a place where that social ledger concept might really spark.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the meetup, but there are definitely meetups that would go for that. And I'll have to start watching a bit more carefully, but yeah, here in the Netherlands, we have something called Singularity University, which is popular. And at one of those meetups, the social ledger would fit right in. And basically, that's all I wanted to say, that if we get this worked out, then it can be useful to everybody. And I made an issue about it, and I think I'll make another one about the presentation to pick up with Jacob. That's it.
I think we have a new member, Todd Brendan. Maybe you could say something. Yeah, wonderful. You're muted. Unmute.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, wonderful. Go ahead.
I'm just sitting here with Navneet.
Okay.
He's trying to figure out.
See you in 10.
I'm in Seattle. I will be seeing hopefully some of you at the membership meeting later this month. So I'm very excited about that. Sorry I joined late to this meeting.
Yeah, it's wonderful that you're there. Welcome. So you have 2 people more watching this?
I'm with Ed and Navneet.
Okay. Oh,
yeah, it looks like it's Navneet.
Yeah. Say hello to them, please. Yeah. Okay.
Regards.
Anything else to discuss?
I just like to demonstrate something for about a minute, just to try an experiment on the social ledger.
Yeah, right. Go ahead.
All right. Hello from a live video. Okay, what I just did was say hello from a live video, which illustrates a way of recording activities that are going on. I just thought that was really clever. Now what I'll do is go back in. When I'm watching this video, I'll find the time spot from it, and I'll put the link right there. You see, and that will be when you've got something that you've got to get people to see real quick in a really long video, this is a way to get them to it and quick. If I had time, I would show you how to create a contract, but that would take 2 minutes. Okay, I'm done.
That's wonderful. So with this tool, you can make points in a video?
Yes, that would be one of the things that I will be doing with it. And I will put a link to a point in a video in one of those actions so that you can see it, and I'll spread it around. I'll put it over in the bridge to the other side, the Discord side.
So I guess Gary is getting all excited about all the potential, as Kendall was in the meeting yesterday, about how reputation and all these other things tie in. But the main thing for now, for anybody who's willing to participate, is they type /dig-a to see all the activities in the channel. In this case, the general channel in RChain. And we see some things that actions and goals and links and things. And if we see something that's missing, like I came in here to look for member voting as an activity, and so I did /dig action member voting, linked to the GitHub issue where people can participate in that. And just adding these little, adding links to documents, norms for the group, anything like that will enhance the social ledger. And so when we look at the activity, so when someone else comes in and does a /dig-a, they can see the member voting activity. They can click on the eyeglasses here, and we'll go into the social graph. And it looks like it's a little slow for some reason. Looks like there's something with these channels. If I look at the, if I look at it on the in the dashboard, I click on the palette, and I'll see all of the activities in the palette. I can act on them. I can increase my activity level if I want, and click on it. I can archive it. I can do other things. But I think there was an issue with the chart, the way that it's actively being developed. And now we, in order to reset things, I needed to go into the dashboard. But now we can see the member voting in the context of identity. Did I do it in identity? I did it in general. Okay, and in the context of all the different channels that are in the RChain Mattermost and the activities they have in it. So we can add links between two documents and issues for the major activities. We can earn rewards for participating in the trial, and we can see how we can use this. Kit complained, and some others complained about the command line interface, that people have to learn to use dig. And we're actively working on developing direct access to the dashboard so that it'll handle permissions and your identity properly without having to use a command line interface to participate in the social ledger. Of course, we would want it to work from Discord as well.
Okay, that's wonderful. I think we have 4 minutes left in order to switch over to the official debriefing. So thanks a lot for joining, and I hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, Jim, that was awesome.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Jim. That was great. Bye, guys.
This is, it was the event or